Hey guys, so today you will have to do with this beautiful face again because I want to talk to you about something that quite a number of people have been asking us about, and that is how I met Adanna's parents. You can imagine, obviously, Adanna is from Nigeria, as you know. I'm from Germany, so we both have a fairly different cultural background. So it was quite, I would say, nerve-wracking for me, of course, because I was the one who had to go and meet Adanna's parents, and I didn't really have any clue about how this is gonna turn out. Adanna, of course, had been telling me, sort of stories how her parents are, and as most specifically how it was when she first told them about me, which is definitely material for another video, and hopefully Adanna will record something telling you her side of the story. But she told me about this, of course. I have a couple of friends from Nigeria who also have sort of shared some stories with me. So I kind of had a picture of what it might be if the future husband would come to see them. But of course, I didn't really know for sure. So after Adanna had told her parents, it took them about 1 full year to agree to finally meet me, because I had been asking them, or through Adanna, to come and see them. I would like to, sort of present myself and say hello and for them to get to know me, but it took them 1 year to agree. Now, what happened was they invited me to come over Christmas to spend the Christmas period with their family, because it's a very special time for them. They always get together in their village, not in the capital, but back in the village where they're from. So I went to Nigeria for about 10 days, I think. So I knew from Adanna and from her siblings, which I obviously was in touch already with, that everybody was very, very excited and anxious to meet me. So when I then finally arrived in the village, you can imagine during the flight I'd been thinking a lot. I couldn't really sleep. I was just thinking what to say, how to greet him or whatever. But first encounter I had was when I arrived in the house. I heard somebody told him that, oh, David just arrived. And all I heard was this very deep voice, oh, where's this German boy? Right? And that obviously didn't quite help. And in that moment, everything sort of went down the drain that I sort of prepared and wanted to say. But so that first day, actually, I did get to see him very, very briefly in the evening. But it was very nice. He was very, he just welcomed me basically into the house, into the family, and I gave him a present I brought. And he just said that he's gonna see me one of those following nights to have a meeting with me. But that was pretty much it. The following days, I just spent with the family. I interacted with all the siblings. We played some football. I got to meet, of course, her mother as well. All the aunties, cousins and whatnot. And some funny moments actually, because I also got to meet almost all, I felt at least was all, because it was a lot of the distant sort of village relatives, the sort of very, very distant the relatives that were still living in the village. And some of them apparently in Igbo asked Adanna whether I'm really German or whether I'm not a Nigerian albino. So that was quite hilarious for me, and obviously everybody just came, wanted to see me and wanted to say hello. It was quite hilarious, to be honest. But of course, the most important moment really for me, I was always still, every evening I was waiting for the father to call me for the meeting, but nothing happened. I met him at lunch, of course, at dinner. He was always very nice to me. He smiled at me, but he just never said, let's go now and have a chat. So fast forward to my last day. It was evening. The next morning I would be flying back to Germany, and I was talking to Adanna. I was like, look, I don't know if he forgot or if obviously this is one of those things where he wants to see how serious I am, because at the end we said, look, if I don't go now and just meet him anyway, I will probably never ever get to meet him, and that was the whole point of me coming. So I decided to just walk to him where he was, I think the living room or somewhere. And just go there, and you have no idea how nervous I was in that moment. Again, I tried to remember all the things I wanted to say. I was standing in front of the door, sort of a bit of sweaty hands, didn't really want to enter. It was really, really nerve-wracking. But anyway, I went in. I obviously told him good evening, sir, and so on. I like to have a chat with you. And looking back at it now, I have to say he was very, very nice. None of this sort of mean, maybe attitude or anything, or giving me a hard time. So that just, first of all, he was very, very nice to me. of course, he asked me a couple of questions. He wanted to know sort of my background a little bit more because he had only heard from Adanna a few things. He wanted to know sort of my ambitions and like my plans for the future. He also made it very clear that, you know, education is very important for him. And he asked me also, and this was a scary one, he asked me, are you aware of what you're getting into, marrying my daughter? And I didn't know how he meant it. But he then said, especially considering like, sort of the cultural background. So clearly, of course, you know, this sort of German boy coming there, trying to marry a Nigerian girl, you know, from a traditional background, of course. And he wanted to check, do you actually know what this means? And for all of you who have watched our traditional wedding, you know now what he meant at that time. So he wanted to prepare me for that day. But no, it was very, very nice. Look, at the end of the day, looking back at it now, it couldn't have gone any better. I think I made the right decision to, for the most part, be obviously step back and hold back a lot and just be there at the guest, of course, be very respectful. But also when it comes down to it, on that last evening, also to show him, look, I'm also here for a reason and I want to see you, and if you're not gonna tell me when you're ready, I'm just gonna come to you. So I think that was also very good that I did that. So really, in summary, I can say it went much better than I thought it would be, first of all. And what I have learned is a couple of things. Number one, it was very important to be very respectful. Okay, so again, as I said, not to immediately jump in there and be all over the place, or, you know, sort of feel at home and just do whatever you want. You have to be very respectful. Observe a lot. I'm a big believer in if you go somewhere and you don't know anything about that place, you can still do the right things just by watching people, what they do, who they greet, what they say, and so forth. Because I believe this is one of the things that I've learned when I lived abroad in Brazil, South Africa, Uganda, Mozambique, or Kenya. And really, it's one of the most important skills you can have, to just learn how to observe and then adjust to that situation you're in. But also, of course, still be firm in what you want to do, what you want to say. Let's definitely have the confidence when it comes down to also say, look, sir, I want to marry your daughter and I'm the right guy for this. Straight up, right? You have to have that confidence. But when it comes now to meeting sort of convincing African parents, right, which it comes down to, and maybe some of you out there are still yet to meet them, or maybe some of you are preparing your boyfriend / fiance to meet your parents, I think the few things that are very, very crucial is, number one, make them see who you really are. Make them see that you are very genuine, okay? And most importantly, because every African father loves their daughter to death, okay? And they all have their dreams of who their daughters were supposed to marry and whatnot, right? So what you need them to understand or to see is that their daughter wants to marry you for the right reasons and that she is 100% sure about you. That, I believe, for example, was the reason also why they delayed our meeting by almost 1 year. They wanted to see, you know what, this might just be like a phase, or she might be rebellious or something, right? They really wanted to see, okay, is she really serious about this young man? Okay, and this is something that both of you as a couple, of course, have to work on. So it's not only the guy's responsibility, it's also, of course, the girls, to really be firm and strong. There might be a lot of criticism thrown at you, or sort of concerns maybe at least raised from your family, but you need to be able to be very, very confident and firm. If the father sees that his daughter really, really wants to marry you for the right reasons, I think you've already won. And also, of course, lastly, they want to see their daughter happy. So make sure you keep your girl happy, right? And also make sure that when you're with them, make sure that they see that she is happy. And you both will have a great future together. And I think at the end of the day, everybody will be fine. It will still come down to you two. Okay, at the end of the day, it's you two. It's the couple that counts. It's your life later on. The parents, is very important to get them on board, but it's still your life. Always keep that in mind, never forget that. And good luck to all of you, and I hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye.